There we go.
All right. Tell me if my sound is okay. I've got earphones in the other room. If it's bad, I'll go grab them.
No, your sound is fine because you're on your phone, right?
No, I'm on a iPad.
Okay, that's fine. That's perfect.
Perfect. But what's going on, brother? Long time no see, man.
I haven't seen you in so long. It's so good to talk to you. Don't even know.
Sure. Where you at now, man?
I'm in Chicago. I got a job in Chicago.
Nice, man. Nice.
Yeah.
How do you like it up there?
Dude, it's different. It's like I never lived in a northern liberal state before, and I've been living only in Georgia, and that was my first impression on like America.
For sure.
And it's just different. Like I'm not saying worse, better, it's just different. I live I'm gonna get into this later, but I've lived the first half of COVID in South Carolina and Georgia at my in the South end, and the rest of it here. And I was like,
for sure.
What the fuck? These are two different worlds.
You come back here now, it's like there's no such thing as COVID.
Everything's open, right?
Everything's open.
Crazy.
Our gym is open. I just got through teaching a full class. We've got wrestling going on right now, and I think there's like 15 people on the mat. So, I mean.
Oh my God, that's incredible. Here they limit it to like 5, 6, 7 people, pairs per class, and like certain Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu places don't care, but they.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: is our audience, because I had COVID late July.
Right. I was like, no way. He talked he talked all the shit, and then he got it, and I wanted to see. I
knew I was gonna get it, man.
I wanted to see how someone who was healthy, training. I wanted to see how your body would react to that. Yeah. I was not really concerned,
So here's the thing: is that if you look at the stats right now, in America, 80% of the people that have passed away from COVID, and again, I'm not saying this is a good thing. It's not good. We should definitely protect the vulnerable people. But 80% of the people that have passed away have been over 65. Almost 50% of the people in America that have passed away have been in long-term care facilities, right? Yeah. This is something that's not attacking the young. If you're healthy, it's going to be more like a cold for you. My entire household got it. I got it. I was over it in 5 days. I was symptom-free, right? And I had very mild symptoms. I had one day where I was pretty fatigued, but I made myself get up and run every day.
Yeah. Was it different? People say it's very different from a flu. Like people say it feels a bit weird.
Yeah, it did 100%. You're right. It did feel a little weird, and I did lose taste and smell, and that was super weird. But
wow.
Literally, I could have stuck my nose in a gas can and not smell anything. It was crazy. But other than that, man, if I didn't know there was a pandemic that was scary going around, I wouldn't have missed work because I would have probably still worked.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was that light. And everybody I know, now I know, as far as athletes, I know about 30 people that have had it. It's ran through our community just because we kept going. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Listen, when I got it, I just got back from cornering Tyron in the UFC, right? So I'm on airplanes. I'm right next to people. I knew that I was going to eventually be exposed. It was a matter of time. And as much as I was traveling, as little sleep as I was getting, and as hard as I was training, my immune system was open for it.
Right.
So I knew it was coming. I knew it was going to happen. And it did, and I'm glad it did because now I'm past it. And I'm living regular life. I'm not scared to death of it. Some people, like my friend from California works at Stanford, and he said it's nuts out there. Like he said, it's absolutely insane. He was in Georgia. He said it is nothing. Like he's like, holy shit. Like there are people literally going to the grocery store in hazmat suits in California.
Wow.
And here, only certain people wear masks. Like it's not even a full-on mandate here to wear masks. So.
Yeah, I heard there's some states that are crazy going with their legislation. And I can honestly tell you that being in Chicago is mainly, like I said, mainly liberal. And the places here are open, right? But the motto here is help keep Chicago open, wear a mask. And I know that you have a very strong opinion on that because I've been following your posts and what do you feel on, do you feel like a mask is the most effective way of preventing the spread of the disease, and is it the only thing that we can do?
One thing, epidemiologists will tell you that masks don't stop the spread. What masks do is they lower the viral load, which means I'll still get it, but I'm going to get less virus, so I'll probably have a lighter case of COVID. So what they're saying, and if they would have just told this to us before, we'd have probably been more receptive to masks. And listen, I'm not anti-mask. If I go somewhere and they say I got to wear a mask, I'm wearing a mask. You know what I'm saying? I'm not that guy that's flipping out in the grocery store because they're making me put a mask on. That's ridiculous. You know, I'm a private business owner, and if I tell people to come in my business and wear pink tutus, they got to wear pink tutus or they can't train. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
You know, so I understand, you know, if a business wants me to wear a mask, I'll wear a mask. But don't fool people into thinking that they're safe because they have the mask on. Because if an 80-year-old goes out, even with that mask, they're still being exposed to the virus. So if they think, oh, if I just wear this mask, I'll be fine, and they go live their regular life, they have a high chance of getting it. They need to stay their ass at home because they're more vulnerable, right? I think, you know, once you, like, under 70 years old, like, it's about flu numbers, like, as far as deaths and everything. Now, once over 70, the numbers skyrocket. So it's really dangerous for the elderly population, right? But if you're a healthy adult with no problems, then you're not going to have much. Hell, I know a guy that smokes a pack a day, is obscenely overweight, and he had 7 days of pretty rough symptoms and got completely over it. Wasn't hospitalized, wrote it out at home, was fine. You know?
That's what's weird about it. It's very random in like the selection, like, well, not random. Like, I feel like it does, like you said, attack a lot more the people that are over 70, you know, people that have certain pre-existing conditions. But at certain times, like you said, somebody that smokes is overweight, has mild symptoms for 7 days.
He should be the guy that has problems, and he didn't have any problems. What's crazy too, though, is, you know, we train a lot of rangers here, military rangers, Army rangers, and they told me that it ran through the Ranger bat, like absolutely ran through it. He said hundreds of guys in the Ranger bat have had it, to the point where they're not even really worried about it. At first, they were doing these big 14-day quarantines, but people were just going and quarantining, lifting weights, eating pizza, and playing video games all the time, and they were fine. So what they started doing recently is, and this is only in Savannah, I don't know if it's other Ranger bats, but in Savannah, you have to show 2 symptoms in order to even get tested. If you test positive, they quarantine you for 3 days. If within that 3 days your symptoms subside, you go back to work, even if you tested positive.
Yeah.
So that lets you know that they don't think it's too dangerous if they're, you know what I'm saying? If they're following those protocols.
Yeah, exactly. And I saw the CDC, and I don't know how reliable. This is a problem that has come to surface with this pandemic, a problem that's been around for a while, which is that of where do we get our information from, and who can we trust?
It's a mess. It's an incomplete mess, because you have epidemiologists overseas. Like, if you listen to some of Sweden and Germany have great epidemiologists. Their people are amazing, right? But I follow a lot of Sweden's epidemiologists, and they have a completely different perspective on this thing. And guess what? If you look at their numbers now, their hospitals are empty, their ICUs are empty, their case numbers are low, their daily deaths are nearly nothing. They're pretty much at 0. And they never wore masks. They never completely locked down. They did some mild restrictions, but my friends that lived there trained jiu-jitsu every single day while they were there. Every single day. They never closed down. And when the UFC started back up, the Swedish fighters, they were all in shape and ready to go. Yeah. Because they were training the whole time, you know?
So what is it that the United States did different, and why? Why do you think that this is being lived so different, not only in the United States, but in each state differently? Like, from state to state, it's very different.
So one thing about the U.S. is our Constitution talks about states' rights very much.
Yeah.
And so the problem with the serious pandemic, which I hate to say this, and I know people will flame me, I don't think this is the one. I don't think this is the big one that's going to kill everybody. I think a lot of, and again, I'm not saying this is a good thing or speaking lightly of this, but a lot of the people that have passed from COVID were probably on their last leg anyway. They weren't doing too well. There are definitely some outliers, you know, but for the most part, the people that are getting hit the hardest, the people that are dying, they were last stages of their life, elderly, or they were morbidly obese, had a lot of other health problems that they could have succumbed to this year anyways, but COVID just kind of gave them that push over the ledge, you know? So I don't think this is the big one. The serious pandemics that scare people to death kill young people, and this one's not doing that, you know? So, you know, they push more of a states' rights idea, and if you look at it, when this thing is said and done, it's going to be hard for New York, California, places like that to ever bounce back. There are businesses that are leaving that are never going to go back. Like, they're gone forever. Those jobs are gone forever.
It's
Georgia
scary.
is actually doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Economically, Georgia just got voted #1 state to do business. There's been actual job growth during this whole thing. people are doing, like, we're doing okay here. Like the few months that, like, some people that weren't prepared to be closed for a couple months went out of business. They couldn't handle it because we were closed for, I think, 3 months here before we could really, really open back up. But once they figured everything out and they're like, there's a specific demographic that's really getting hit, they kind of let us kind of go wide open, you know?
Yeah.
And we've gone wide open, and there's been an increase in cases, but there's been no spike in deaths.
Right.
So,
this is what I wanted to tell you. I don't know if you've seen the recent numbers like released by CDC. It was, well, recent. It was like,
I look them up every single day.
right. So I don't know. I didn't check them. Like, when was the last update? Do you know that? Just because I don't
So
want to
I
be
looked
wrong.
at Georgia's today.
Right. Now, what's the mortality rate in the United States? Because I saw for like people that were 20 and under, it was 0.003, right?
Yeah, no, it's super low. So give me 2 seconds and I'll pull them up because I just pulled the latest stats.
Just because whenever I speak about this, people tend to like leave out the numbers, and then people just want to speak their opinion, but I actually want to show the numbers because this is true.
Sure.
How many people has the flu killed? And look at the way we talk and act about the flu.
So let's talk about a couple of things. So I just read a recent report that only 121 people under the age of 21 have died with COVID, not of COVID. So if you die with COVID, you're labeled a COVID death. So for instance, there was a kid here in Savannah that had a febrile seizure. He was in the tub and he had a seizure. He drowned in the tub. Now, his fever spiked because of COVID. But one, his fever wasn't high enough to kill him. Two, febrile seizures never kill anybody. Like, you don't die of febrile seizures. If he'd have been in his bed, he would have woke up and been like, that was weird, and he'd have been fine, right? He was in his tub. He drowned to death because he had that seizure in the tub, and his parents weren't watching him. 7-year-old kid. They put all over the news, COVID death, are you going to listen now, blah, blah, blah. That could have happened with the flu. Like, some kids are more predisposed to febrile seizures, you know? But, you know, that's the kind of thing that's getting listed in these, the 21 and under numbers. So only 121 people, and all of the people that have died in America have died of COVID under the age of 21. That is a speck. That is like, for instance, I think 188 people under the age of 21 died this season from the flu.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we got to put this into perspective. Now let's look at the overall numbers released by the CDC.
Yeah.
So 19 and under years of age was 0.0003%. 20 to 49, this is the infection fatality rate. 20 to 49, 0.00002%. 50 to 69, 0.005. So we're getting a little more dangerous, but it's still extremely low. Now over 70.54, much higher. That's a little more dangerous for them. But when you think about that, it's still 99.5% of 70-year-olds are going to live.
Yeah.
You know? Now that's still, when you think of 330 million people in the United States, it's a lot of people.
Yeah,
you know?
it is.
A lot of people. But 70 years and older, I think the average life expectancy in America is 75, 76 years old. You know? The average age of COVID death is up there, real close, like 75, 76 years old.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I think we're going to look back at this in 10, 15 years when all the numbers are in and we really break down these statistics. And this could, like, I don't know if some states aren't ever going to come back. Some industries are gone forever. You know what I'm saying?
New York is scary too. LA is definitely going to be like reformed. It needs to change. Like, I mean, you know, the cities are going to finally be able to have some space to change, but for a while they're going to be dead cities.
But so I'll tell you what's going to be crazy, right? So this is what always happens. This is the same thing that happened during the housing crash, right? So certain industries that maybe were at a time mom and pop could be in these industries are going to be gone because they lost everything during this during COVID. Big business is going to sweep in and take those industries. So they're never going to come back to us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the billionaires are going to continue to get richer. They're going to take these industries. They're going to take this market, and it's going to be gone from us forever. All right. Beyond that, like a lot of like Jiu Jitsu, which California was the hotbed for Jiu Jitsu, right? A lot of those guys are leaving. Calterra, one of the top Jiu Jitsu players on the planet, he tried to stay open, kept getting fined. They were fining him $5,000 every time they caught him open, right? finally they threatened to cut off his electricity and his power and everything. So he's shut down indefinitely. He's done. You know what I'm saying? Caltera is one of the biggest names in jiu-jitsu, right? Yeah. He's either going to leave California or lose everything, you know? If I was him, I'd leave, you know? Yeah. But the good thing is we're going to see like the South is going to be the place for jiu-jitsu soon.
Yeah, exactly. That must be exciting for you.
I think we're ahead of the market a little bit because our gym's pretty amazing. But
yeah, you know, tell me about that. I want to hear, because I want to hear about your new gym. The last time I walked in your gym was a while ago, and it was really small. I walked into the first one, like the one that was on the left on the Monty, and then you moved on to the other one, and then you expanded. So tell me about that.
I'll tell you what's crazy, right? So the Montgomery place where you first showed up, that was a temporary location. So we were in Windsor Forest for years. We had almost a 6,000 square foot gym. I didn't love it. We were actually looking for another place, and we were month to month. But it was a nice big gym, and we could do everything we wanted to do. We had locker room, showers, everything. It was a pretty cool spot. But we were looking at moving. The landlord lost the place. So the city ended up buying it. And because we were month to month, we had a very short time to get out and find a new place. Yeah. So my friend told me about the place on Montgomery. It was somewhere we could get into really easy and quickly. We literally moved in a weekend and resumed classes the following week. We didn't miss classes at all. Like we were right back to work. But it was a temporary location. So we were looking for our forever home ever since then. And right now we're a little closer to Oglethorpe Mall in a beautiful location. We got everything you need. If you get a chance, it's not quite as big as the Windsor Forest location, but it's set up as more workable space. So now we have full gigantic mat area, bag area. Our ring is set up, nice boxing setup. Then you go back, we've got a full strength conditioning area with top of the line, rower, concept 2 rower, concept 2 skier. We've got the stepper, we've got recumbent bikes, we've got assault bikes. Then you go back and we've got a full strength conditioning area set up. We've got a big yoga room in the back. So
damn, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Is it still Champions Training Center?
So the banner is we're Champions Training Center forever, but our banner now, our LLC, is Champions Unlimited, and that's going to be our fight company, our fight promotions when we start that back up. And pretty much everything is under the Champions Unlimited banner, but the gym is Champions Training Center still.
That's sick. No, it's beautiful. Like I remember when I entered in there, you know, the place was definitely like a lot smaller than the one that you've been posting about. And I was just like, damn, that's incredible. You also you had something in Atlanta. Do you still?
So, you know, I sold my shares in Atlanta. It was just getting too rough. And I have partners there. And one thing I know about when you have a baby, when you have something you love, it's hard to bring somebody else in that may not hold your same vision. So we tried to make it work for a while, but we just had two different ideas of what we wanted to do. And if I'm going to put my name on something, it's got to be perfect.
Yeah.
In Georgia right now, 2017, we won Gym of the Year. Right now, I think we have 9 guys in the Georgia rankings. I have a couple of athletes that are about to move up to bigger shows, and we'll be announcing that soon. So our guys are doing real well, and we're a very well-respected name. Our brand is very well-respected. So it's important for me to keep that going. And anything I attach my name to and I'm involved in has to have that same level of respect from the community. And I didn't feel like I was going to get that with the gym I had there, so I sold my shares. I got out of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. And this kind of brings me to my next point. Like, I know you're definitely somebody who's very involved within the fighting community, and not only is the gym a place where, you know, people can go out and learn how to defend themselves, learn how to develop better habits, but for many people, sometimes people that don't have the same opportunities as other people in life, for those kind of people, it is a shot at a better life, at a
definitely
better life and chance in life. What can you say about that? Because I know like you're very involved in that.
100%. And you know, it changed my life. And if you go, you know, we're a pretty expensive gym for the average person to come in and train. You know, we have a good product, so we make you pay for that product.
Yeah.
But we also offer scholarship. We offer scholarship programs, and we're making sure that anybody that wants to do this and really, really, really shows me they want it, we'll make a way for them.
Yeah.
You know, so we offer a few different scholarship options, and you know, we're making sure that, you know, because, you know, a lot of times when I came up, I couldn't afford it. The only reason I was able to get into boxing and martial arts when I was a kid, because of rec center programs, and a lot of these programs aren't there anymore. But I learned discipline. I learned how to goal set. I learned how to die trying to attain my goals, you know, in these sweaty gyms in Tulsa, Oklahoma when I first started. And it changed my life. Right now, I'm working on my PhD. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'm a knucklehead that was at the bottom rung of society, that came up in utter poverty, that because of this beautiful art, this beautiful sport, I was able to work my way out of that. And so I want that for everyone else. So we're not only do we set up scholarship programs, but my fighters, I am making sure that they understand how to run a business when they're done. Right now, we've added massage therapy at the gym. We've got strength conditioning programs, and I'm making sure my guys are getting their education, getting their certifications, so they can run these programs and start something for themselves while giving back to the gym, making sure the gym pays its bills, but we're giving them an opportunity to make money. And you know, for me, that's what it's about. I want you to have more than you had when you started with this thing, man.
Definitely. In the fighting world, for people that don't know it, hell, I don't even know it. I only did it. So I did it for very little, but I definitely got to be around people that live that life daily. It's a tough life. And it's rough. How can you, like, I always wonder, how is it that fighters get paid next to nothing when it is not only something that it's in every country. Every country has fights. Every country has the concept of a person battling another person for somebody else's entertainment.
Especially mixed martial arts now is one of the biggest spectacles on the planet. Everybody wants to see it. So the thing is with anything, like boxing, anything that you got to pay your dues. You're going to have to, like, if you're a comedian, you're going to play shitty clubs until you get that big break, right? Until you prove that you deserve to be in a bigger show or in that bigger arena. And with MMA, it's the same thing. Is you got to work the chitlin circuit, as they call it, for a while until you prove that you deserve to be in that bigger show. I've been blessed to fight in some of the biggest shows in the world, and you know, I made a pretty good living doing it. I want my guys that come up behind me to make way more money than I made and do a lot more than I did. But, you know, I was blessed to do a lot of cool things and get a lot of cool connections for them, so it'll be an easier ride for them up the ladder. And we're making sure they get the best training in the world as well. But it's rough, man. It's rough when you say, okay, I want to do this, but probably for the first, you know, 3 to 5 years of my career, I'm going to be in poverty, possibly on food stamps, barely figuring out how to pay my bills, maybe bouncing or working a club job or just doing something to make a little extra money while I'm trying to build this thing, because I got to dedicate this much time to my craft in order to, you know, go anywhere in the sport. Like Josh, right now, he's been with me for 10 years. Now, understand, when Josh came to me, he was 250 pounds. So a lot of that early time was just getting him in shape to fight. When I finally realized he was serious, we put a lot of effort into making sure he's one of the best in the world. And now he's 10 years in the game, and he's about to get that big break that he's been fighting for his whole life. You know what I'm saying? So, but it was 10 years of struggling, you know? And most people quit before you ever see that, see the light at the end of the tunnel, man. Like, it is a hard ride to get there. And only the people that are willing to pay the price ever get there.
Right. And I have to ask you this, because I definitely feel like the people that I have on, I respect highly. I highly respect you because, and one of the reasons is you've gone through all those years of like tough training and having like not knowing when you're going to make like the next bill and fighting. And not only you're doing that, but you're practicing a sport in which you're going to get hurt every time. People don't know you can enter and die in an MMA ring. You could die. Listen, the other person is going there to kill you.
For sure. For sure, 100%. And people don't understand that. It's not like you're going in there to dance. I mean, the other person across, and that's why I try to let these guys know. I'm pretty hard on them sometimes because they need to understand that whoever's across from them, they're not going to be nice to them. Like, this person is not going to be like, hey, buddy, you know, I know I'm hurting you. I'm going to slow down. No, they're going to try to kill them until the ref pulls them off. Yeah. So it's got to be rough in the gym. This process is rough because you're involved in a rough profession, you know. But yeah, man. So I think my first fight I made $100. My first pro fight I made $100. Wow. It barely paid for food that night, you know. Now this was I went pro in 2001. So
Yeah.
this next year will be a 20-year career, and this will probably be my last year that I compete, and then I'm gonna leave it to these young guys. But I wanted to get 20 years in the game.
Nice.
Not too many people can say they've done that. I've never had a major injury. My style allows me to get in and out of fights without too much damage. And they call me the technician. I'm a slickster. You know, I believe in my defense. But I've had a long career, and I've been blessed to keep all of my faculties. You know,
that's what I'm leading to.
That, you know?
You're not only like, you don't only have a almost 20-year career in MMA, an exemplary career. You know, I've been looking at some of the people and some of the names you fought, and although I'm not as familiar, I can't help but recognize a lot of those people and see where their careers went to.
Oh, for sure.
And I've seen some of your highlights. And not only that, but you also are an avid, curious learner, like, if I'm not wrong, right?
Oh, for sure. And, you know, I fell in love with education a long time ago, and it's because my dad beat it into me. You know, we grew up in pretty bad circumstances, but the one thing my dad always did for me, one, is he made me love myself. He told me I was great every single day, no matter how bad it was. And we came home, the lights were off, and, you know, had to heat up our bath water because we had no hot water. And even with all that, I knew that I was going to do something special with my life. And in order to do that, I would have to gain specialized knowledge that I could give to other people and sell that specialized knowledge.
Yeah.
You know, and the more research I did, because, you know, I got my first degree just thinking I need to go to college. I didn't know what I was doing. I want to be the best athlete, so I'm going to go for public health, and this is what I need to do. I want to learn about my body. I had no idea what I would do with it. I did a little personal training on the side while I was training, and it helped me survive while I was trying to work my way up the ranks in fighting and build my business and what I was going to do. But then I went back and you know, I grew up in pretty bad circumstances. You know, I'm a guy with, 3 undergraduate degrees, a master's degree from Boston University, and now I'm working on my PsyD, not a PhD, but a PsyD, a clinical psychology doctorate from the University of Arizona, Wildcats. Go Wildcats.
Wow.
But, you know, with all that in mind, you know, the goal was never to make $1 million off it. I think I'll make money off of my degrees. I definitely have some ideas of things that I'm going to do once I get this doctorate, and things I'm going to add to my business. But the goal was always to learn as much as I could about the system, the problems that we have in our community that is putting us so far behind. Why is it that the wealth gap between African Americans and white Americans is the highest it's been since the Great Depression right now? What happened that made that is keeping us here? You know, so I wanted to understand these things. I wanted to understand why cops can kill us with impunity and never go to jail. I wanted to understand the system. So I got a degree in political science. I got a criminal justice master's degree because I wanted to understand law. And these things were all meant so I can make a difference in my community and set up programs to kind of aid us to kind of change the direction of where we've been pushed. Because it's not like we want to be here, but certain socioeconomic circumstances have pushed us in this direction. So what can we do to get out of it? And so that's what I wanted. I wanted to learn as much as I could so I could make that difference.
And after this many like undergraduate degrees and with the masters and what you're currently pursuing, what would you say what is your take on what's currently going on? And from not so much from a point, like I'm asking you because you are of African-American descent, right?
Yes, sir.
And you also happen to be Muslim, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah.
So
yes.
You're somebody that has arguably faced a lot of what has been going on in the United States lately for the past, not only 4 years, for the past many, many years.
Yeah, the 2001 things changed for Muslims, and African Americans have had problems since we got here.
It's crazy. And I was talking about this the other week, and I'm a white person. I'm from Europe. I'm somebody that's still considered minority in the United States, but I'm still white. Nobody's ever gonna like give me shit for my skin color. So from my point of view, I came in the United States and I was like, wait, this was supposed to be the place where everything was like equal. Like, I swear to God, your guy's trademark out there is like equality, everyone's the same. And I came in here and I've learned that not only was I taught a different kind of history of what happened, but also that like a lot of people didn't get along here, and that was sold outside. So what is going on? Like what
I'll tell you what's crazy. The reason you got that perspective is because I'm going to get a lot of flack for this. I love my country. I love what is produced. So what I take off, like, I don't take that back, but what I'll say is I love the people that it's made, right?
Yeah.
I don't think a flag is more important than any human being. I don't care where you're from. I will love you as long as you are good to me and you're a good person, right? So these artificial barriers and this crazy nationalism that we've created just to make us hate each other, I think that's a problem, right? Now, with that being said, America has the best marketing plan on the planet, all right? So I'll give you a for instance, right? I fought in Mexico probably 5 years ago. And if you ever watch the news about Mexico, you would think that they're just heads hanging from poles and the cartel's just killing everybody.
Yeah.
I was in a place called Saltillo, and it was probably one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. Everybody's driving Audis or Range Rovers, beautiful houses, very upper middle class and wealthy, and probably one of the best experiences I've ever had on any of my trips, man. Like, an amazing experience. But if you follow our marketing and our news, you think it's nothing but what did Trump say? Rapists and their worst, right?
Yeah.
No, like, man, that place was absolutely amazing. Now, let's flip that around a little bit. Now, if the only thing we showed the rest of the world was Chicago, Detroit, South Central LA, if we only showed the worst parts of America, where there's horrible gang violence and horrible poverty. Do you understand that the wealth gap, like the poverty rate, the lower class in America, like there's a bigger gap than anywhere else in the world. Like, as far as first world countries. First world countries,
yeah, of course.
So you compare us to any other first world countries, and we have more impoverished. We have people living in third world conditions here that the average wealthy person would have no idea. They don't even know that exists here because they never go outside of their bubble. Yeah. Right? We have this great marketing plan that if you see the news and well, now it's getting a little worse because now the internet,
Yeah.
But for the longest time, everybody thought, oh, I come here and it's going to be amazing, the American dream. And man, it's a lie, man. It is not that, right? Right now America is one of the worst in the first world in healthcare, one of the worst in the first world in education, one of the worst in the first world in standard of living, right? So what makes us the greatest country in the world? And I don't say that lightly because, like I said, I love this place. I love what it's made. You understand, some of the most beautiful culture has come out of this struggle. Like, right now you have a minority that only makes up 13% of the population, Black Americans. We only make up 13% of the population. Yet, if you go anywhere in the world, there are people breakdancing and listening to hip hop.
Right.
Like some of the cultural things that we've created here just through this struggle, jazz, hip hop, R&B, just some of the dance and fashion that we've done. Like, it's worldwide, and it was created through this struggle, because struggle creates beauty, man. Like, when people have to survive, they figure out a way to survive, and they do it beautifully. And I wouldn't change what I have gone through for the world. Now, do I want to make this place a better place for my son? Yeah. Right. So what people don't understand is, we talk about my degrees, right? I'm a successful pro athlete. I've had 55 pro fights. I'm a world champion, national champion, regional champion, state champion. I've done it across 3 different combat sports, so Muay Thai, boxing, and MMA. And I'm a black belt in Judo, black belt in Jiu Jitsu, a crew in Muay Thai. I've done a lot of stuff in the sport, right? Beyond that, I'm a successful business owner. I've got a pretty awesome business here, one of the top gyms in the state. Beyond that, I've got 3 undergraduate degrees, a master's degree, and I'm working on my PhD. Still, in a matter of 3 months last year, I was pulled over 8 times. I was searched, illegally searched 3 times. I was handcuffed once, right? And let go after. They're not supposed to let you go after they handcuff right?
Yeah.
But I was handcuffed, detained, and let go, right? Out of those 8 times, only got 1 ticket, and that ticket was thrown out because it was garbage, right? I was profiled that many times, pulled over, because, you know, when you met me, I was driving a nice X3 BMW.
Yeah,
You know,
I remember that.
I've downgraded to a Jeep now because I got tired of all those problems. They evidently don't want black guys riding around in BMW X5s.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, that shouldn't happen in what we call a free country.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be this disproportionate treatment of a particular group in America.
Do you think it's fear? I was talking about this the other day. Do you think it's
beyond fear? So it's beyond that. All right. So if you think about America's history with African Americans, okay, we had damn near 300 years, depending on when you put the start date, well over 250 years of slavery, right? Right when slavery ended, we went right into black codes where they created these laws to, so they with the 13th Amendment, it said, okay, slavery is illegal unless you commit a crime, then you can be put back in servitude. So they created all kind of laws that were specifically aimed at black people to put them right back into servitude, right? So loitering was against the law. Not having a job was against the law. They would arrest you and put you right back into slavery, right? So after black codes, then we had Jim Crow laws where people were getting lynched, where I couldn't drink out of the same water fountain. I had to ride on the back of the bus. Voting was damn near impossible. They would kill you if you tried to vote. Like all of these things, right? Then right after that, we rode right into Nixon, and Nixon said, okay, we're going to make these this war on drugs. And a Nixon aide recently came out and said, we created the war on drugs to attack black people and anti-war protesters. So that was a whole nother attack. Then Clinton got a hold of it. Reagan got a hold of it. Then Clinton came after him. Joe Biden, who's running for president right now, made it way worse with the 94 crime bill, where he militarized the police. He gave mandatory minimums for drugs that were prevalent in our communities. So crack cocaine will give you more time than powder cocaine, even though they were the same thing. Weed gave you specific minimums. I have a friend that got a mandatory 5-year sentence for getting caught with an ounce of weed. His first offense. He got like a felony charge, 5 years, lost his chance to vote, lost his chance to own a firearm, lost his chance to get student aid, changed his life completely. This is a college student, right? Got caught up with Joe Biden's criminal laws, right? So we've had these things. So let's not talk about racist housing policy, redlining. These things took money out of our communities, made it to where we couldn't own homes, made it to where we couldn't build generational wealth. It wasn't until 1968 with the last civil rights bill that was signed, and things didn't get magically better right then, when we got any semblance of equality in America. Now, did it become equal right then? No. There were still a lot of horrible racist practices then. But when it comes to legislation, we weren't free until 50 years ago. And people wonder why there's such a discrepancy in success in America, because we've only been free for 50 years. That's one generation. My dad lived during a time that he wasn't free. Okay, he lived when Emmett Till was lynched. He lived through Martin Luther King dying. He lived through Malcolm X dying. He lived through Fred Hampton dying, and every single one of our civil rights leaders being killed, you know, and the movement being completely stopped. And then now he's living through another civil rights movement where we are marching right now for the same shit we were marching for in 1968. So, I mean, America's got a long way to go.
Do you think that what's going right now is going to push it towards, I mean, it already is definitely making a change, but how do you feel like this should be approached? Because I know that you had certain views on the rioting and everything else, but to be completely honest, and this is going on a public place where people can disagree with me and whatever. I don't give a shit. But
for sure,
I think that people, like, whenever United States got their independence when America got when the 13 colonies got their independence from Britain, right? It was 13 already when they got their independence. How did that happen?
Violence. There's never been change in the world anywhere without violence.
From peace. How can there needs to be a certain like clash from which energy can be created for change.
Right now, what we're seeing is and I don't know if we're going to win this clash, because what they're doing, this is how they do it, right? And this is how it always works, and this is how everything gets stamped out. This is how the civil rights movement in the 60s was stamped out, and we really didn't get the progress we deserved, right? You have this tyrant Trump that he's horrible. He's a horrible person, right?
Yeah.
But then they throw Joe Biden, who, if you look at his history, has done more to harm black people than Trump has ever done. Now, Trump has rhetoric, of course.
Yeah.
And Trump has done some things that it's not good, right? But Biden created the worst legislation since Jim Crow and Black Codes that destroyed our communities. I lived through the crack epidemic. I lived through when police all of a sudden started driving tanks, all of a sudden started carrying M16s, and they weren't the neighborhood police officer anymore. When our community started getting over-policed, like, I remember when that happened, right? It wasn't good for us, right? And it's not been good for us. Like, there's so, like, the vast majority of African Americans. So first, right now, there are more African Americans incarcerated in America than were enslaved at the height of slavery. These African Americans are being utilized for free labor, free or cheap labor, by pretty much every corporation in the United States, in the world. Like, they outsource it to the world, right? So right now, like, has there been a lot of progress? Right, we still have literally, and I would say 80 to 85% of the African Americans that are in jail right now are in jail for nonviolent drug crimes, right? And they're being utilized for free labor right now. Right? So we have a slave labor force in America built up of mostly African Americans that is bigger than the slave labor force that, you know, they built this country on. Right? So has there really been a lot of progress? Yeah. I recommend that anybody who's watching this, check out the documentary The 13th on Netflix. It breaks down. Watch that. It's a great documentary, and it breaks down the private prison system. They call it the New Jim Crow. Michelle Alexander wrote a book called The New Jim Crow, and it breaks down this system and how they basically switch from slavery to legalized slavery through our prison systems now. And I mean, that's why I don't smoke weed. Like, I'm a boring ass dude, right?
Yeah.
But I understand that weed doesn't hurt anybody. And the fact that it's illegal in America and you are still giving people felonies for this plant that if you go to California or Colorado, you can just walk around with and smoke. But in Georgia, I can still get a mandatory minimum for getting caught with a certain amount.
Right? That's crazy.
Absolutely fucking insane.
They're saying they legalized it once white people figured out how to make money off of it.
No, they're already making money off of it. The thing is the prison lobby is so strong. That is a large part of their clientele.
There's still states where I think weed has been legalized and they will not retroactively free people that were in prison for weed. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy that right now
you're spending time in jail for that.
Exactly. There are people that right now are doing like long sentences and have felony charges for something that somebody else is making money off of right now.
Yeah.
Legally.
Exactly. The government.
It's insane. It's insane, you know? But that's the world we live in, man.
Listen, I want to ask you one last thing because I know you're busy. What can we do? As not only as white people, as people in general, how can we create a world where where everyone can feel like they belong and they're safe in their communities and they can have the same kind of opportunities in life?
Man, so, you know, I've mowed over this question for years now. And, you know, it's crazy. I'm not a very emotional person, right? But when George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, when you kept seeing on the news every day, death after death after death after death, and they're just being thrown in our face, and man, like, that shit was real depressing for me. And like, I had a rough month, man, a bad month, and I'm not a crier, but I cried multiple times through this whole process, just trying to figure out what we do next, because I've been fighting this fight for a long time. And, you know, I'm at a point where I'm like, do we just, you know, take our resources and go back to Ghana Do we go to Thailand to start spending money and building businesses there? Do we go somewhere where they want us to be there investing and building? But if we do that, you know, I'm a big fan of James Baldwin, right? James Baldwin, a brilliant writer. If you get a chance, read some of his stuff. Great documentary called I Am Not Your Negro that you can check out.
Yeah.
But he had escaped to France. He was living a great life. This during the 60s, during the height of the civil rights struggle, the first civil rights struggle. He lived in France, was doing amazing, was loved, wasn't segregated against, didn't have to ride on the back of the bus, didn't get looked at, didn't get called nigga, was living a good life. And he sat and he watched as Martin, Malcolm, and the others struggled in America for some semblance of equality. And he went back and he spent the rest of his years in America, you know, documenting and writing about the struggle and being an integral part of the civil rights movement. So I feel like people like me that have the resources to leave and have the education to fight the system, to get involved, to change things. If we all leave, then it's going to leave the people that don't have those resources here to just catch the brunt of it. And I don't want to be a coward, you know? So I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere. But, you know, it's hard when you look at this political field this year. And you know, I believe strongly in voting. I'm like, so do I vote for this racist or this racist? Like, what do I do? So I refuse to vote for either. I'm voting third party. Because as long as Democrats keep doing this to us, as long as they say, okay, we're not going to give you who you want, we're going to put this establishment candidate in, but you got to vote for him because Trump's so bad, because Bush is so bad, because they always have you have to do this because of this. And we never get anything. They never listen to our demands. We're not organized, so we don't make them earn our vote. So that's my goal right now, is to get us organized and to demand that these leaders, these politicians, if they want to get our, because listen, if Biden wins or loses this year, it will be because of black people. That'll be the difference, right?
Yeah.
If we decide we're not voting for you, he doesn't win, right?
Yeah.
So that power, they shouldn't just expect to get that vote.
Right.
We should get something out of that, you know?
I feel like their whole campaign is get Trump out of office.
Yeah, no, it's not help us. It's not do anything. It's not make the world a better place.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy to me? You know, I'm a Second Amendment guy. You know, I live in the South. So I believe fully in my gun rights.
I got it here too. I got it. I love Black Rifle.
Guns and coffee. That's one of the things that keep me alive, right? But so they're telling us that the white supremacist terrorist is one of the biggest threats in America. This is the Department of Homeland Security, FBI. They've labeled white supremacist threat as one of the major threats in America. But in the same breath, he's got some of the most horrible gun legislation as part of his platform. So you're telling me that these guys that are not going to get rid of their guns are the biggest threat in America, but you want to disarm me, and I'm a good guy. Yeah. You don't want me to protect myself. I can't vote for you. Can't vote for that guy.
Exactly.
You know? So, I mean, it's just insane to me, man.
It's crazy.
You know, there's so much to talk about because there's so many issues, and I could go on forever just about what direction I think we should go. But I think the biggest thing, you asked me before, you said, what can white people do? Yeah, right?
What can white people do, and specifically?
So, the first thing is, listen, you know, make some black, listen, I know white people that don't have any black friends. Like, no. Make a real black friend and then stop talking. Just listen. Just listen to what the problems they have. Listen to their perspective, right? Then you'll get a better understanding of what needs to be done. And then when it's time to march with them. Don't try to jump in front of them and take the movement from them. March with them. Be there with them, right? When they say, okay, this legislator is bad for us. This one is going to help us pass this legislator. Vote for that legislator, right? But, you know, we won't get the help we need until we get organized. So that's where it's got to start, really. But beyond that, I mean, just listen. Just understand. Do a little research on the history of racism in America. how we've gotten to this point, and then, you know, make a black friend. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, make a black friend and listen to what that black friend has to say.
That should be a campaign for running president, you know, make a black friend.
Make a black friend. You know, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy how much that would solve. But the problem is we're so stuck in our bubble. And that's what I love about martial arts, is if you walk in my gym, it is a rainbow coalition. You will see Asian people, black people, white people, Jews, Muslim, Buddhists, Christians, everybody, all rolling, all getting along. We go out to eat, and it is the weirdest, like, table in a restaurant. Because you go in any restaurant, there's white dudes over here, the Asian family over here, black. We are a segregated society. And what I love about what we do here is it brings people from, like, the most impoverished backgrounds to the wealthiest backgrounds to highly educated and no education, and brings us all together and puts us in a room, and we all do something we love. This one thing brought us together and makes us disregard all these biases we have, all these issues we have, and allows us to communicate and become friends with people that may not have the same perspective as us. So it allows us to grow, you know?
Yeah. True
growth happens through these friendships and these relationships, man. Definitely. Without that, we can't grow. And that's why I tell everybody, you need to travel, right? If you've never been out of the continental United States, then you're an idiot. And I don't say that to be mean, because some of us can't afford to be out, but
yeah,
you don't grow until you start seeing other cultures. You start seeing that it's different over here. They do it differently over here. What they told us about this place is a complete lie. These people aren't that big of assholes. These people are that big of assholes.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna, like, go see the world, man. Like, understand that there are different perspectives, and that we can all grow from understanding those perspectives.
That's awesome. And I agree with everything you've said. And I think that point of listening, and like even before making a black friend, just listen to what people have to say, and not only to like give an answer, but listen to understand them. And when you listen to understand, you don't need to say anything. You can understand without replying back. So definitely, just take it and listen. And thank you for dedicating, because for the past hour, I think I have learned so much about not only, you know, the history of what has been going on, but also from your point of view, what can be done in general. So thank you for this opportunity, because I feel like not everybody can have this conversation. And I'm glad that I'm lucky enough to sit down with you and be able to do that, you know?
I'm grateful for the platform, man. And you know me, I've got a big mouth, so I won't
love
shut
it.
up. And,
I love it.
I don't care if people hate me or not.
I love it.
I work for what's right. And if I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong. And hopefully we can all grow from it. But
exactly.
We've got to put these things out there so they can be addressed.
Exactly. Hey, thank you so much. I really am honored to have you on here. And hey, please look out for another invite, because I know we have some other stuff that we can talk about. But good luck with everything.
I appreciate it, man.
And I hope the gym booms. And I'm coming down in Savannah for sure to visit. And I'm going to
definitely come see us, man. Come see us. Get on the mats with us.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Have a good one. Have a good one.